It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Obiajulu Ugbo, and with me are the ladies. Excellent morning, everyone.
Excellent morning.
Amazing morning.
Thank you.
Give me vibe.
How you doing?
I don't know where there's food. The animal's vibe will come out.
I didn't get food today. She not it, but she did it. I'm doing fine. I had my banter, but other events took over. I got a call this morning. I've had a friend who has been dealing with, some things, and she told me that she's in the clear now. I'm so happy, deeply happy for her. I knew that when she was going through it, I sort of felt it myself. And in some way, I'm not saying that I carried it, but in some way, I know it affected me deeply. So to hear that good news this morning, I'm just so grateful to God. And I'm so grateful for time that allows us to go through things and come out of it. Yeah. And just also to say to everyone, let's take our mental health seriously and let's be there to offer each other assistance, a shoulder and support. I'm so happy, honestly.
I'm happy. I heard you shouting. So I wanted to ask you later. What's whether there was a credit allowed?
I'm just so happy. This is the best news ever.
Congratulations. How are you doing, Nima?
Fine. Just feeling a bit of pains on the right hand.
What did you do with the right hand, please? Tell the viewers.
No, she did somebody.
Report yourself.
I'm sure she did somebody.
Nothing exactly. I woke up with the pain. I don't know why. Well, I've been using the earthquake as a point of teaching my children gratitude. I have entitled children. Think that, mommy and daddy will do it. So I've been talking to them, making them, and I'm hoping that the lessons stick. Highly appreciating family. So siblings fight happen regularly in my house. We complain about things, and I'm like, pictures from Syria would humble you. Those kids, those ones, they are just happy to be there. They're just happy to have warm clothes. As basic as that. And my son can tell you, I don't want a trouser today, I want a jersey tomorrow. So while here, I'm using that and it's working. Yesterday, I caned him, I sat him down, I talked to him about it, I'm seeing the result. I love that. I know that it's traumatic. It's not, but we need something to help us. And this is a reality for some people. So when you don't have it, learn to say Alhamdulillah. Be grateful to God.
That's amazing. Well done. How are you doing, Tapa?
I'm amazing. I'm amazing.
You can see that. Because why did you announce you were traveling? People were chatting me that Tapa is traveling.
Because I have a hangout.
And I have to market spots that you're going to.
Because I'm marketing my hangout.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm doing a Real Money UK tour. I'm going to be in 3 places. I'm going to be in London, Manchester, and Glasgow. And we're having like a conversation about wealth creation, real estate, investments, and how money ties up with relationships. So I'll be doing that over the next 2 weeks in the UK before we go to the US and do another 3 locations in the US. But
so this is not a rest holiday. You're going to work.
It's a working holiday.
It's a
honeymoon,
work and rest. Perfect combination. We cover everything. But yesterday I was on waiting day. Oh my goodness, those guys, I spoke pidgin. Did you see me on Instagram? I went live and I was speaking my pidgin on waiting day.
Waiting day.
Waiting day is Max FM.
Yeah.
So
I said
yes, I went to talk about our new estate that pays people. So buy land and you earn from the land through agriculture. I have a lot I'm doing this year, and in between I have to find a way to find balance. So the trip would actually provide me, my first 5 days I'm not doing anything but just touring and relaxing, and then the last 7 days we're going to have events back to back. So the important thing is to find balance. So I'm really amazing
now. Awesome. So yesterday was my son's birthday. Yes, he turned 12 yesterday, and they had a formal dining in school. He had to wear his tuxedo. His shoe was looking like a bloke. I'm like, okay, this is my original specs, Yeah. And also I've taken up tennis. Yes, all my body hurts all over. So when I coach, I tell people there are certain areas of your life that you have to balance so that you have a more balanced life. Physical health is very important. Mental health, like you mentioned, is very.
Tennis. Is it lawn tennis?
Lawn tennis.
I'm good at table tennis because I'm.
What do you mean by do I have height? I have height for everything.
I will finish you on table tennis because she's
I'm good too. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we go to the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. So let's start with the nation. Death toll in Turkey, Syria, earthquakes nears 12,000. Nigeria air to begin flying soon, says federal government. I seek a nation founded on justice, prosperity for all, BAT. Relief, joy as Supreme Court holds CBN deadline on old Naira. Tinubu, El-Rufai, Wike, OPS, others hail injunction. The pro-people, the anti-people analysis. Fleeing Senator Nwoboshi arrested. UTME, JAMB cancels registration of 817 candidates. What stories do we have in the nation?
Okay, I'll take the UTME, JAMB. The JAMB registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, announced yesterday that 817 candidates for this year's UTME exams have been cancelled, and 178 computer-based centers are affected by this cancellation. The registrar said that the reason for the cancellation is some infractions that has to do with strained biometric fingerprints during the registration process. So he said that the 817 students will be given another opportunity to re-register for the examination, but this CBT, that's the centers, will have to bear the cost. So what they noticed was that there's some people who during registration had other people use their fingerprints for them. So, and they're different. You said they realized there's a wide range of scenarios. So there are those that they said while they were there, they were told that, oh, the machine is too hot or your hand is too hot, let me do it for you. So the person at the center would use that. So they were naive. They didn't mean to be allowed those people. They didn't mean to do anything untoward, but you know, that's what they allowed them. And yes, that there's those who were there because they were trying to impersonate other people, but they cannot pinpoint exactly who those ones were. So the thing is to just cancel everything. He said they sat down with the CBT centers, the stakeholders, and they admitted that that they were, you know, culpable, part of the deal. And so they are allowing all the students who've been cancelled to go back to register, but these centers will have to pay the board for those registrations.
I must commend the team at JAM for going an extra mile to find out what led to what. In the olden days, cancel. You will not get your results, nothing. It's your parents that will bear the cost, but thankfully they're doing so much. So the major headline, Nigerians and everybody, especially Governor Wike, and the IMF have, you know, applauded the Supreme Court for intervening in this our Naira swap and the deadline wahala. So the Supreme Court yesterday, day before yesterday, granted an interim injunction restraining the central bank from enforcing the deadline starting tomorrow. And the IMF came and you know, faulted that deadline that, you know, this window is too short. That the window, that the 108 days window that the central bank decided to enforce this within is so sure that it will affect other things. And the Apex Court also yesterday restrained the CBN governor from going further. The CBN governor then decided to visit the president. We've seen him regularly visiting the president now, and I hope that he's advising on the right policy going forward. Also, yesterday was his second in 2 days in visiting him. So we're waiting to see what will happen tomorrow. Of course, there's a court injunction that must be obeyed, but we're waiting to see going forward what the new rules will be.
Okay. So the presidential candidate for APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as well as El-Rufai, Wike, and other state are thanking the governors for, it's related to the story that Nima just took, celebrating the fact that the governors stood up because they said filing the case was a big deal, and the governor of Rivers State, Wike, is joining the suit filed by Kaduna, Kogi, Zamfara states at the Supreme Court. If we remember, Governor Nasir El-Rufai said the ruling would relieve the suffering of the people, and the presidential candidate was totally in support of it, saying that this is what the people want. He said the governors pulled us back from the precipice that Nigeria was deteriorating. He wants to salute the courage of the governors. We were teetering on a dangerous political crisis and social unrest, which the CBN's policy on the new Naira note has brought on our country. So I think that a lot of Nigerians share the relief that is being expressed by the presidential candidate of APC on the news from the Supreme Court.
Okay, so I hope we'll have enough time to settle in and see how the cash begins to flow. Yeah, so the aviation minister Hadi Sirika yesterday said Nigeria Air will soon begin their flight operations. He said they have completed the initial processes, and they were at the point of sealing and obtaining the Air Operator Certificate, AOC, to enable the carrier to start flying. So he was addressing the State House correspondent after the FEC meeting with the president at the Villa yesterday, and he said, we've got the aircraft ready. They've painted it in national color. They've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. It's supposed to be about 5 stages. They have moved from 1 stage to the 5th stage. They are currently rounding up and expecting the certificate, which will be released to them soon. And once it's done, they'll start flying. So that's good news on that part. Also, they said that's according to the Minister for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timi Pre-Silva. He said that the council has approved the money for the construction of the Oloibiri Oil Museum and Research Center in Bayelsa. This has been ongoing since the 1980s, and is one of the legacies that our president wants to leave before he leaves office. So congratulations to them on that. Let's move on to the Punch. 195 naira per litre impossible, marketers insist. 900 NNPCL stations to serve INEC during polls, Yakubu. I didn't offer to buy kidney, Ikuremadi tells court. Wike lacks popular support to help Tinubu, Peterside. World Bank, IMF wants CBN, Supreme Court stops Friday deadline. We've taken that. INEC appeals Oshun poll judgment, defends Adeleke's victory. 805 million fraud, fleeing Senator Nwoboshi nabbed and sent to prison. Turkey, Syria earthquake deaths now over 11,200. What stories do we have in the Punch?
The senator representing Delta North in the National Assembly, Peter Nwoboshi, was convicted since July 1st, 2022 and sentenced to 7 years imprisonment for money laundering. It came to about 805 million naira. And they said that since that time, he's been on the run. He did not bring, first he wasn't even in court, and since his conviction, he has not gone to the correctional facility. And so, but what he did, the EFCC said that what he did was go to the Supreme Court to ask for a judgment to set aside, the previous judgment that had sentenced him to prison. But the Supreme Court is saying, see, nobody's above the law. First of all, you ignored what the law said, and now you are coming back to the same place to ask for us to, waive it. So he has now been formally remanded at the correctional facility.
Okay, so the 900 INEC story, 900 NNPC stations to serve INEC during polls. So according to the Oga Patapata of INEC, the chairman of the INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, yesterday. He mentioned that 2 issues that is affecting Nigerians is also affecting INEC, which is the scarcity of fuel at this time and scarcity of naira. He says that so these 2 challenges have been, there is looking for ways to solve them. Of course, so they met with NNPC, who have committed their 900 stations on land as well as the floating mega stations to help during this time, because they always enlist the help of NURT operators, that's the National Road Transport Union of Road Transport Workers, with moving of their materials, and those ones were talking about the issue of fuel on ground, and so they've gone to meet with NNPC, and NNPC will be serving their own vehicles during the election, and we have just 16 days to the election. Also, the issue of cash, the CBN have met with the Oga of the CBN, and they've discussed how cash will be given to their staff and members who need it for their operations during the election. So these 2 issues, which of course would have affected the elections or made it an issue to be postponed, has been dealt with by INEC, according to the report in the Punch. So let's just hope that it's as they said it, ICL. That's what happened. Because someone was saying that it's like they might move the elections, and I was like, no, already
Shouldn't move the election. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known, for when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Looking for some drama?
Yes.
Sit back and catch up with the slaps. Yeah, lots of slap. The drama is endless on TVC.
Jordan, member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power. Ginger. Take it. Today we'll go here.
Hey, I didn't read you.
Are you sure?
Ha. I know I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
Eh?
I said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Fellas wasn't even born in 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still reviewing The Punch. I have a story. Oil marketers on Wednesday, that was yesterday, said the supply of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, has not yet stabilized, and that's why we still have a lot of queues around different filling stations, except in Abuja where it has reduced. And one of the reasons it's reduced is because the president had given them a matching order that they must supply at least that capital city. So it doesn't look like everything is just going the other way. So the Group Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, said that the fuel queues would likely clear in 1 week. The marketers are also expressing optimism about that. However, it will be very difficult to insist that they sell at the government approved price, which is 195 liters, because most of them had bought the products higher, and they will not want to sell at a loss, and that's where the issue is. But they've been having meetings upon meetings to see how this works out. So let's give them about a week and see how they can resolve the issues. That's basically the story.
So the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu has denied that he offered money to buy a kidney for his daughter. His daughter will collect his 25-year-old who's trying to undergo a kidney transplant, and they offered to pay, the allegation is that they offered to pay £7,000 to a 21-year-old trader who they flew to London falsely as the cousin, and they wanted to get his kidney. So he said that he thought that the trader was doing this with altruistic motive, that in the Nigerian society there's an expression, everyone is each other's keeper, and that they felt it was an altruistic donation of organ. But that's not but it's true. But people do it here. So he also said that the donor had offered to donate the kidney, and that it wasn't that he was buying the kidney. They did not pay. They were not planning to pay for the kidney, and the treatment was to save the life of their her daughter. His daughter. I just this entire thing is really getting more and more complicated. It doesn't look like there will be an easy way out of this, and I feel sorry for all of them involved. The daughter is caught up in between this. I pray she doesn't lose her life while they're trying to resolve the case. And of course, it will help us as a country to look into this case of altruistic buying of organs and all of that, what we claim to be altruistic and the place of buying of organs, which happens here. I cannot deny that it happens here.
The way we were wired here, you hardly, for this kind of things, expect monetary exchange. So you'd have taken it for granted, but people have already passed that stage now. They monetize these things. So maybe the young man was doing it and giving them the impression he was altruistic, but he was monetizing or hoping for some of who they were. So this mix-up is possible here. Let's not even talk about it like that. It's possible here. The only problem is next time have it in a document. Let him be the one. Let's have written out and signed.
Let's move on now to the Vanguard. Federal government blames profiteers for petrol price hike. PDP, APC clash over plots to scuttle polls. We found solutions to petrol, cash scarcity, INEC. Protest trails Supreme Court order, federal government seeks dismissal of ruling. Naira swap, Wike hails Supreme Court Rivers to join suit. Article 6 removal of Lagos rec over alleged partisanship. IMF pushes for fiscal monetary policy reforms in Nigeria. What stories do we have in the
So, I'm taking that weekend story, but she not put the drama that I wanted.
Give us the drama.
So let me just go.
Thursday, we need drama.
So he said, let me commend my brother states like Kogi, Kaduna, and Zamfara, who took it upon themselves to challenge the federal government at the Supreme Court. I also want to say that the Rivers State government will join them in that suit to challenge what the CBN is doing. We will not support anything that will go against the masses. Anything that makes the masses suffer, we will not allow it. So I wanted that kind of drama.
All I can say is, Governor Wike, you have fans here. It would be lovely to have you sit with us. Even when after whatever. I have a story from the IMF. Has said that the Nigeria's economic recovery should be anchored on decisive fiscal policy reforms and further monetary policy tightening. The statement followed the conclusion of its assessment of the 2022 Article 4 staff report. And details of the assessment is that IMF says, looking ahead, directors recommended decisive fiscal and monetary tightening to secure macroeconomic stability, combined with structural reforms to improve governance, strengthen the agricultural sector, and boost inclusive, sustainable growth. Also highlighted the need for bold fiscal reforms to create needed policy space. They also emphasized that government should not go back on its decision to take away subsidy by June. And, there's so many more things that they listed here, given the assessment. And I mean, this is all what we've been saying. We just want, as we can see, the CBN, our economic sector, it seems like there's so many confusing policies. We're not sure what is best for our people. We don't know. Before we make policies, we don't include everyone. And when we roll it out, we have all sorts of issues. So IMF is advising us on the best way to, go forward.
Yeah, so the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, said yesterday that they have found solutions to some of the perceived obstacles capable of derailing the general elections expected to start with the presidential polls February 25th. And they have also are trying to assure Nigerians that, as agreed, the general elections must hold as planned and nothing will derail it this time around. So they are having conversations with different bodies that are responsible. So the two major issues that they found is the fact that there is lack of cash in the system. And to solve that issue, they said they have negotiated with the CBN governor. They've had meetings with him, and he has promised that because the accounts of the INEC is being managed by the Apex Bank, so he has promised that they are going to have all that they require to make the elections work. Also, they had another meeting with the transport workers as well, who have ensured that and promised that everything will work out so that they won't have issues of moving their materials from one place to the other. So for them, INEC has sorted the issue of cash and petrol, and hopefully we'll have our election as planned.
So the PDP and APC are clashing over moves to scuttle votes. The PDP putting out allegations against APC that APC wants to postpone the presidential election by 2 weeks to 1 month, using their influence within the House. And reacting to this, the APC replied that we're not afraid, and they denied scheming any plan to postpone the election. The APC is saying that we are ready for the elections. Through their spokesperson, Felix Moka, said that this is blatantly false, reckless, and bears no iota of credibility. He also mentioned that on the record, the party continues to, with the support of the president, that APC has been waging a vibrant campaign, so they have nothing to fear towards the election. Back and forth.
Okay, let's move on to the Nigerian Tribune. We have resolved petrol scarcity, cash crunch issues, INEC. Nigerians must ensure general election holds, OBJ. Federal government blames profiteer for hike in petrol price. 400 of our teachers killed by insurgents, Borno government. 71% of schools in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe don't have qualified teachers, UNICEF. IMF asks for extension as Supreme Court holds February 10 deadline. MC Oluomo, remove Lagos wreck now, Atiku tells INEC. Ajero takes over from Waba, gives federal government 1 week to resolve Naira scarcity. Kogi governor's nephew arraigned for alleged 3 billion fraud. INEC appeals tribunal judgment, sacking Adeleke as Osun governor. Lists 44 grants while verdict should be set aside. What stories do we have in the Nigerian Tribune?
I have the National Leadership of African Democratic Congress visited our former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo on Wednesday, and in the meeting, the former president was just, reiterating the importance of the general elections that's coming, and saying that we must all work together to make sure that this election holds. And he also referred to how he's been traveling to different countries in West Africa, and that even some decisions, like he went to Cote d'Ivoire, he said the president, when he was leaving, said that there are some decisions they need to even make as a country, but they have to put it on hold until the general elections happens in Nigeria, so that it's not just a Nigerian thing. We also affect what goes on politically in our country, affects the whole of West Africa. And just saying it's very important, and we should all be part of it to make sure it's successful.
Let me quickly give details of the story of INEC and MC Oluomo. So apparently the Atiku campaign organization is accusing Lagos State INEC of REC, that he should be removed because he plans to use the Lagos State Park management under the management of Musiliu Akisoya, also known as MC Oluomo. His accusation is that everybody knows, according to him, that MC Oluomo is affiliated with APC, and using his team to transport sensitive material will be compromising the sensitive materials. INEC, on the other hand, said that the only reason they are using the Lagos State Park Management Garage Committee is because Lagos State has banned NURTW within the state, and those are the only people that it can use to move sensitive materials from the INEC office to the location. So we'll see how they would resolve that.
All right. Thank you, ladies. That's all we can take on the newspaper reviews. When we come back, we move on to our hot topics. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni, Yeni, Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger!
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
I
said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Vanessa wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road. In Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Ọmọ Fẹlá. Ọmọ Aníkúlápó Kútì. Wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
Century of a century, speaking, advocating, protesting.
Thanks for staying with us. So today is Thursday and we usually like to gist household issues, family issues, relationship issues, whichever one we come across on social media. So we came across this particular story of a man, or a statement by a man saying that one of the causes of divorce and separation in marriages these days is not just about infidelity. It's about the gadgets that we have in our hands, our phones. Our phones have caused more harm than good in our marriages. And I'd like us to explore that topic this morning. You tell us your thoughts by joining the conversation and calling us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. You'll be telling us how the gadget has affected your home, your intimacy, your friendship with your spouse, and even your family members, your kids. We have kids these days that have their phones almost 24/7, always on one app or the other, one game or the other, and we find that we do not really have that connect we used to have growing up. So let's talk about it today, and who is ready to tell us your experience with the gadgets?
Okay. Well, we are dealing with it too, just like everybody. I remember myself and my husband, I had an event on the island, so I checked into a hotel and said he should join me. And in the hotel, both of us were on the phone for about an hour before I realized, whatever you are looking for, you could have been doing this in your house, but this is a hotel outside the house. And so I cautioned myself. And we went for an event too where the sheikh was speaking at one of my events. One of the international sheikhs that visited the country was talking about how the phones are more dangerous now than anything else. That you see people that in his house, I'm trying to remember the name of that sheikh. He said in his house when you come in, there's a basket. Not Mufti Menk. So there's a basket somewhere in the house. Once everybody comes in, you put your phone on silent and drop it.
Wow.
So the next day, nobody picks it. So that the parents are parenting, the husband and wife, our husband and wife and everything. And as my husband was listening to, because both of us were in attendance, and you know at Muslim events, there's a separation of male and female. So we were chatting and was sending me, do you hear? Can we apply this in our house? He did it for a week. Inside that 1 week, maybe 3 days successfully. After a while, like I just want to check my. I just want to. Did you hear? Did you want this? Did you see one politician? And eventually we are back on our phone. So it's something that is dangerous. There are extremes to it. So I'm just saying, you know, what we are dealing with now are still the basics, but these things are so addictive. And anything that can make you that can distract you from the most important things, which is of course your kids, your spouse, is more dangerous than whatever kind of infidelity. In those days, you're scared about, but your person can be on their phone, and even the other party that they're cheating on you with is right there through the phone. So there are 3 people in the house. Or, you know, I'm dealing with a family member's infidelity story for the past 1 month, and it's so sad to find out that all the time she thought her husband was working on his laptop, on his phone. He was talking to a babe, not be a babe, the several other women. And you know, and is something that people will want to. You see women asking for passwords. I don't have those issues in my house. All passwords are public in my house, so everybody, even my daughter now knows so we have an open place where everything is transparent and we don't have those fears. But these are serious issues, are extremes. For those of us who don't even have fear, the addiction to the gadget itself, that you're always holding it in your face as if that's all that is important in the world, is enough. Talk less of some of these extremes that I'd like to just have.
Deep and scary.
Very scary, because this is my personal story. And I was just I really would like us to discuss this, because for me, we've had to go on a journey, and I can tell you from where my addiction started. So I started the lifestyle with ML Community. Before then, I wasn't really, and I would hardly even be on social media anyways. But it involved me being on the phone for quite some hours. In the beginning, I was able to keep it between certain hours. After a while, as more people joined, more people would reach out different parts of the world, and that is where I believe my addiction started. So even if you are not talking about lifestyle with ML Community, there's something else that's caught your attention, and before you know it, you go down the rabbit hole of social media. You're going through one page or the other. It affected my relationship with my husband, in the sense that these were just buddies. I used to my husband is a funny person. We sit, we talk, and I was less present with my children. And they brought it up, they complained about it, my mom complained about it, my husband. So what we've done recently, and I hope ours works, because we are quite deliberate about it. I started work on myself before I even asked anyone else to do the same. Yeah. And I remember my husband saying, I see a whole lot of difference. You're involved with the children, you're not constantly on your phone, but you and I also need to do. So I did not go, you need to drop your phone. I'll just put my phone aside and just wait for him till he's. And I blame myself also for him constantly being on his phone, because you were always on your phone and he's there waiting till you got tired of waiting, and you got into the habit of constantly being on his phone. But what we do now is, when he comes home, when he's back from work or anything, we put our phones aside and we talk. And also, what has helped me with my children is that we've gone back to reading. I used to be that mom that would pick up a book, we'd read together, I read to them, they read to me. And I now notice that my younger daughter is not as, she doesn't read as much as my older, my son, because he knew the mommy that would read. Phone was not part of it. Television was not a major part of our household. In fact, if you come to my house, my TV is deliberately a certain size, because I don't want these gadgets to be the focus of our family meetings and hangout. But all glory be to God. I'm doing much better. I started last year. I'm doing much better this year. My daughter, I even started reading Harry Potter books, because I got her the whole collection by Christmas. And mid-January, I'd asked her about it, and I realized she hadn't read. So I picked up a book, I read it, and she was like, okay, I'll read it right after you. And I feel like I'm going back to the mother that I used to be, and giving the parenting that I need to be, and being the available, present wife I used to be for my husband. So you guys keep praying for me. This is such a personal issue for me.
I don't think I read the whole of 2020. Wow. So I used to read every evening. We have the science fiction books. I love them. And we'll read about, discoveries and all of that. But the whole of 2022 was this thing.
Yeah. So for me, both of you have tried to work on it. I'm not even ready to try it yet, honestly. What I do work on my phone. Like, this is my office. That's the truth. It's my office. It is how I reach out to customers, and I am working. What has now, so I've been in this space for the past 2 years, since I went into real estate in 2021, and I started closing, my entire transaction is from phone. So I know that I don't joke with my phone. I cannot, if I see, something happened to me in 2021, a client reached out to me, and I put 2 numbers on my phone, on my advert. So myself and a friend, then we were doing commission. The person called me, sent me a message, did not reply for 2 hours, then he called my friend and he closed the deal, paid through my friend. That means I missed out the commission. And it was my advert. I paid to sponsor it. He paid me so much. I took it very personal. And I was like, no way. If I wasn't if I was on my phone, if I responded in time, I would have really want to close. So I became more, I'm always on my phone, Sha. And it's a point of quarrel. We've had the conversation. I had to tell my husband entering the year that, see, I'm going to be on my phone. We can't change that yet until I've been able to fully put structure to my business and then I bought more lines. I advertise more lines than my own line now, so that more inquiries will go to them. But sometimes customers will call the number. You know the way staff can be. Once I can pick call at 11 p.m. because it's my business. They will say, they will be like, I'm not available at this moment during office hours. So I had to now take it more. So I told my husband, I said, when you feel like I'm doing it too much, just take the phone. Like I'm giving you, I'm not going to get angry. Just take my phone and say, let's talk. So I think he's done it like 2 or 3 times. I want him to do it more, but because I know that I can be forgetful. I know probably a time in my life would come when I'll be able to make that decision. Maybe I'll be able to go the Mariam route of saying, I'm going to put this phone down. Maybe I've already arranged my business a bit more, but for now, it's bad. Yes, it's really.
What can we do to help you? With your case. But you're not ready yet. I'm not ready. You're not ready yet. I'm not ready.
What can we do to help your life?
Help your life.
I'm not ready yet. You know, I'm not.
Okay. This issue cuts across. Everybody has a form of this problem in their houses. I have a major one as well. I'm a portfolio entrepreneur. That means I don't have an office, a physical office yet. So all my businesses are here and here. And I have to attend to customers one-on-one. The few times I tried to get a PA, we were not just getting it. They would not attend to the messages on time. Customers would have made orders. I would not see it and all that. So right now, I took everything back. I'm doing it myself. So it's a lot of work. And I know that I'm always on my phone. But I'm not on my phone playing. I'm actually working like a 9 to 5, but on the gadget. So my kids will come and say, Mommy, you're on your phone again. I say, come and look at what I'm doing. You see it? I'm posting market. You see it? I'm attending to customer. You see it? Because they want to make that excuse for themselves to be on their gadget. I say, you want to go to TikTok and go to Facebook and go to all those sites. That's not what I'm doing. I am working, you know, and I'm also trying to find a system where my daughter would help me, like be the PA when she's not in school, so that she would handle it from that angle and understand what I'm doing. My own is still small because I think I found a way to balance it in such a way that if it's time to attend to the children, I drop my phone. If I want to sleep, I drop my phone, you know. But Oga's own is heading towards the addiction one. He has a problem of sleeping right now. He doesn't sleep that much. And for every time his phone rings, this is somebody struggling to sleep, he will wake up and go and attend to the phone. So when we go on vacations, he'll be on his phone. I know there's work that still happens with the phone and emails and all that. But the bonding time we have on the table, he's with his phone. I seize his phones from him. Anytime we hang out, I carry all the phones, I put them in my handbag. Let us talk, you know. So it's something that every household will just have to find a way to. I remember the times when you go visit your parents, like now, everybody, we've come to visit Miriam, for instance. I'm on my phone, Mariam's on her phone, the kids are on their gadgets. The last time I came to visit your husband, you had to tell them to keep their gadgets and play with their friends. It's now become a subconscious part of us. Once we have the gadget, we no longer communicate. We find that we no longer are able to share. We no longer connect with one another. And we need to find a solution, at least today.
There's also the extreme one. I'm guilty of that. When I used to allow clients call, once you give your number to a client, and you see lawyers, they don't pay us. It's not better money. A client will pay you 100,000 naira for a full court case.
Wow.
By being in court for a 4 year plus. That's the only money they want to pay. No appearance fees, nothing. But this client will call you out of the blue and scatter your mood. And I could have had a bad day. I'm coming home and then the client calls me. He's shouting, and I'm forced to either shout back, and I go to my kids with it. I was like, Auntie, are you not seeing what is happening? I didn't see it. There was one Ramadan, we're just even finishing night prayers, you know, and Ramadan will have a long set of night prayers. I will pray outside on the roof. And as I was done, I went on the phone. And it was, we're going in. It's bedtime. Maybe tomorrow you wake up early to cook. Are you going to work tomorrow? All of that, I was doing like this. I wasn't answering. I was answering with my hands. He was upset that, look at this lady. When are you going to come back to be, you know, you must put a timeline to it. And that has really helped me. There's no emergency any client is bringing. As long as this is not key in your house, me too, I will not come and die for it. I won't take your calls at a certain hour. Sometimes if you call me at 8:39, I could be seeing the phone ringing, but it's a rule in the house now. I won't even touch my phone. I won't pick it, no matter the emergency, because what they do sometimes is bring the vent, especially when it is a relationship, like we're dealing with divorce, or some people property. They will say, hey, I was just called now. They just called me now that somebody is on that. Auntie,
they push the frustration to you.
Yes, and it affects you. If you cannot, you have to be able to separate it. If you're not careful, it affects. There was a time I was dealing with somebody in an abusive relationship. I was trying to convince her. We went into court for the divorce, but she needed to leave the violence scene, leave the house. But she said, no, I need to take this, I need to take that. And in the middle of all of that, I was constantly on the phone. There was a time my husband called me. I'm not the one beating you. We're not beating each other in this marriage, because anytime you finish this course, you just do face. We're not fighting here, because you just switch into feminism and all of this. But it's not in this house, so I didn't agree with what he was saying. I didn't
You won't see it.
It took a while for me to see that I was now wearing the cap. I'm putting my husband in that person's image, and fights that did not exist, I will create it. And I'm waiting for the fight to end. So some of these things, they're real. If you cannot do, sometimes for some people you can do both. For some of us, we cannot do both. You must separate it. And there's nothing that is gree. Don't let anybody carry your life up. Make sure that home and family is important. If the gadget is the cause of it, thank God. Miriam was the one that gave me the idea of signing out, and I did it.
Let's take
for
this
those
call.
3 days, sanity came back.
Shola from Ikorodu. Good morning, Shola.
Yeah, good morning, your view.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julu and all the colleagues in the studio.
Good morning.
Honestly, this topic is a very interesting topic. You know, when you started this topic this morning, I was actually sitting down at the front of the television watching your view. So when you brought it up, that is exactly what I was thinking in my mind, because this phone of an issue has brought a lot of problems in my house. Honestly, my eldest daughter, she was with one of her junior sisters, though they are not staying with me. She just called yesterday that this phone of a thing has caused a lot of problems in their house. The immediate elder sister to that one, yes, we have been fighting over these things for the past 2 weeks.
Wow.
They will put food on the fire, and the whole thing will get done because they are busy pressing the phone.
So true.
And the worst part of it is that when you seize that phone from them, it's like you are taking their life, you are taking life away from them. So I don't know what we can do about it, because that is exactly what I am passing through. I am thinking when this topic just came up. It is causing a lot of damage for the fact that there are some advantage on the phone. And the worst part of it is the worst part of it is that if they are engaging on that phone with something that is profitable, that would have been better. But what they do on the phone is for them to chat, to watch film, to do all sorts of things that is not profit, that does not add to their life. Honestly, I would be very, very happy if we can have a solution to how we get these children from addicting into this mobile phone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shola. That's quite enlightening.
Yes, I mean, so let me just help. So first of all, I know we're also blaming the children, but I just wanted to, take our minds to also your workers. Even if you're the sort of person that is, I have a house help, I have a maid, I have a cook, I have a lesson teacher, you will come and meet them on their own phone too.
Yes.
But madam, how dare you talk? Because there you are on your own phone as well. Until you're in the kitchen, food is burning, and this is the person that has been employed to do the job. You're sitting down with your children, they're doing lesson, and then you notice lesson teacher is on the phone. I mean, everybody's on the phone. So for me, there was a time there used to be, which is actually happening in Nigeria now, like the wave of drug abuse. This is another sort of thing that is just spreading across, globally, and we need to do something about it. One thing I would say, maybe because of my children's age, we're able to keep them offline. So whatever it is that they have to do is pre-seen. I've seen it, and I know what it is that they are watching. Something that's been downloaded, and you should, But I worry also for parents of children who are from, let's say, 15, 16, 17, because there's just a limit to where you can say, control. They even know these things better than us. So whatever it is, you say, okay, mom. I hear they have different phones. Yeah. They have, for parents that even try to be, okay, let me be the outgoing mom. Let me be the mom that understands children. And say, okay, we'll open this social media page together. We'll do this. The child goes behind the parents' back and opens a special one for themselves. Here you are thinking, okay, me, I'm a mother that is even down with the times. I allow for open conversations still. So
let me pause you, mom. Yeah, I'll come back to you. We have a caller, Olajumoke from Kaduna. Good morning, Jumoke.
Good morning, Morayo. Good morning, everyone. The first time caller. This topic is a very nice one for me. The phone issue has eroded the family ties. For me, when I was training up my children, the issue of phone came up. I was able to control them while we were in secondary school. But now, in my house, my husband will hold his phone, I will hold my own. There is no communication. And for me, it has created a big gap, but I don't know how to solve it. In as much as it has its advantage, the disadvantage is enormous. And for me, it's really eating me up. So I don't know how to drop my phone. Even me, I'm guilty of it. Is there any solution?
We'll get to that.
Yeah, so that's where I was headed. One thing that I know works for me and in my household is you need to be the example. So if it's bothering you, ma, you have to be the example. Don't go about telling people to turn off their phones or put their phones aside. They would not do it. But if you create a time for yourself, and you need to see this, I saw myself working on this phone addiction, like I was working on a weight loss program or working on something that needed time. There will be ups and downs, but drawing up a schedule for yourself. On Monday, at this time is when I would have my phone. At this time, I take it off, and start with small hours that you give to yourself. Okay, you start with a 30 minutes on Monday. Eventually, you can go to an hour or a certain time during the day. You have to work on yourself. One thing I know about children and those that love you is that they mirror you. They want to do, and the more I put my phone aside, the more my children wanted to spend time with me. There was no even time for that to be in the way. So do it first. And then they will see that you're communicating with them. They're on the phone, but you're communicating with them. The reason why it's even more dangerous with children being on the phone is that because we are on the phone at the same time as them, we miss a lot of things. But when you create the time when you're not on the phone, you can stand over their head. Hey, what are you doing? They don't like it when you are even trying to involve in what they're doing. What are you doing? Hey, just me. They'll be like, oh, mommy. All right, what do you want? They have put phone aside. Husband too will see the effort that you're putting in, will see that you're spending time with the children. While he's on the phone, he's hearing laughter and whatever happening somewhere. What are people doing? So it's not an attack. Don't attack any family member, but start with yourself. And also with children, create a schedule for the children. If you have older children, you need to sit down and have a conversation and create a schedule for them.
I think that works. But let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Looking for some drama?
Yes.
Sit back and catch up with the slaps. Yeah, lots of slap. The drama is endless on TVC.
Welcome back. So we're still discussing our gadgets and how we can handle it. So, Nima?
So I was saying that, you know, if the problem is you, like in my own case, I spotted my own problem. God will deal with his own with time. But my own problem is how whatever I do affects my kids. I can't be shouting on my children when they don't cause any problem, because one client will not let me be. It's his own personal problem. Especially when the client is not a retainer. If you are a retainer, it means that you can call me anytime and give me that problem. But most Nigerians price retainership as if it's pure water, then you want to call me. So what I've done is I've put a distinction around everything, put them in their boxes.
Yeah.
You know, your retainer client is okay. You're a client who is pricing it, you don't want to pay retainership, don't stress me. I'll deal with whatever specifics that your legal service I'm giving you, I'll face that. If you're a mentee, box them and then put a time to it. Don't call me when I'm indoors. And if you must call me at that time, make sure it's the time I gave you. So it doesn't affect my family. Family is 100% priority. I don't care whatever the problem is, because I cannot allow those things affect home. So you must put it like that. And I was, you know, saying this to add to Miriam's response to that caller. If it affects home, and you can spot it already, you must be deliberate about what you want to do about it. If it is work, because some people think, okay, if it's profitable what you're doing on your phone, there's nothing profitable that you're doing on your phone that is worth affecting. If you put it in the compartment, it's better. If you don't do it, the consequence of it might be costing you home, and that's risky, too risky for me to take.
Yeah, that's amazing. So there are people who their jobs are basically, like we explained, both of us, basically online. So what I do to save myself is scheduling. So I schedule when, and I don't go online to play, basically. I don't go online to look for gist or go and be trolling somebody on the post that they made on their page. I don't have that time. If you see me on my gadget, I am either posting markets or selling markets or getting inquiries or putting out courses. So I'm actually working, and I try to schedule the time, and I also schedule for the children. So like weekdays in the house, no TV, no gadget. You come back from school, you rest, eat your lunch, you rest a bit, you do your homework in the evening. If you are bored, take a book and read. After reading, come and sit down and explain to me the book. Weekends, I leave them with their gadgets. But I'm also trying to reduce the timing for that weekend, because I realize that weekend,
morning to night,
what's the wake up? Because it's weekend now.
First thing.
What's the wake up? First thing is the gadget, and it's not working for me anymore. So I've also enlisted in sports. We're going to be doing a lot of playing together. We're doing tennis, we're doing swimming, weekends, we're out, sporting activities, we're jumping around, we're sweating, we're bonding on that level. So that, you know, we just have a few times that we can sit down with the gadget properly. But I don't know how, for someone like me, we go and tell Oga to drop your phone every minute.
Working.
Except when he's talking to me and we're trying to have a conversation and he's doing like this, I'm like, then I keep quiet. He says, I can hear you. I say, you can't hear me, you're on your phone. Oh, sorry, and he drops it. But I have to do it every time. So probably it's something that we have to have a conversation and see how this phone thing is affecting us and the children. Maybe that will also help.
So for me, the conversation is consistent. I really don't have. I'm before till 2020, I just do content and leave my phone. But post 2020, I started doing business a lot on my phone. I had to set what do you call phone to regulate, so you can put your timers to shut down. So you shut down at a specific time. And it really does help. But I have like I mentioned earlier, I gave my husband permission to say, drop your phone, or he will take the phone from me, because I knew that I needed to put that check in place. That's on one end. On the other end is when it comes to children, we did activities on weekend. Just this week, my son was lamenting that our Saturdays and Sundays are no longer available to have fun. That in the morning we are going to do sports, we will do extension classes. How many hours do we now have to even play games on the laptop? Then Sunday we are in church. Mommy, we are in church till 1. So I realize that I'm overdoing it, because I do like 2 services. So it means that I am working in church. I'm a worker. So I'm working 2 services. So they have to work. They have to now do 2 services. So it's also affecting them. But what I see as the overall thing is quality time to bond is essential for families, with children, with friends, with parents. And that quality time is more than quantity. So it's about you condescending that I can compartmentalize my life and create a quality 1 hour where I am giving all to this person and listening totally. And I let the partner understand that this is our time together. So on this time together, if we are going out, when we have our dinners, my husband and I tell him this throughout this meal, before, after. I don't even want TV. When when he takes me to a place and I see there's a TV around, I'm like, I don't want to sit down here. I don't want a place where there's a TV. You can be using eye to be catching football or something. If we are having dinner together, that dinner is you and me alone, because we can get so busy that we're not connected anymore, which is what the topic was about, which is the fact that infidelity is not really the cause of phones are causing more division in marriage than infidelity, and the fact that the phone is with you every time. So you are more connected to somebody in the UK, more connected to somebody in the US than with the person right in front of you. Let us take time off and connect one-on-one.
Okay, please let me take this call quickly before I come to you, Nima. Joke from Iju. Good morning, Joke.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, ladies. Well done.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Please, what I want to say is that we parents, we should lay example for our children. We should do all these things in moderation. It seems necessary, but we should do it in moderation, so that it will not affect our children negatively.
Amen.
Please, I need Nima's number. Please, I need her service.
Okay.
She needs your services.
Nima, please.
They need your services.
Don't worry, they'll put you on retainership.
Thank you,
ma.
Thank you, ma. Thank you. Let's take another short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Great people of Lagos.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer positive force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger!
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I didn't read you.
Are you sure?
I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
I
said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Vanessa wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Omo fella. Omo Anikulapo Kuti.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
Welcome back. So we're wrapping up this topic so we can move on to another one. So let me just throw this quickly. Where do we begin to draw the line from just being able to do work on our phones to when we become addicted? So some people are very aware of themselves and their environment, and they're easy to spot. Others are not so aware. So what are some of the signs you now see that will tell you, okay, I think I'm becoming addicted and I need to work on this? And solutions as well.
I think if you are not aware from just being on your phone, there are things that may be going on around you and you find that it slipped your attention that will call your mind to it. If you're so much on your phone that you had missed some meetings that you should have had, or sent some emails that you were supposed to have sent but you forgot to, or your child does something that, like, when did she learn that? When did they do this? I think anybody, responsible adult person, would take a step back and reevaluate, what they're up to. So and then after this conversation, I guess some people may also decide to do like a check on themselves and say, okay, how many hours am I spending? One of the things I started was to put on my phone. It has, at least my phone has, where it shows you how many hours you spent on any app on the phone. And for me, I could tell I was spending so many hours on different, and that helped me. But quickly, I wanted to say, let's make time to have physical meetings. The other day when we were shooting our Valentine's promo, that day was just so rejuvenating for me. Like to hang out with the ladies and we were just talking and saying it wasn't anything serious, but just our phones were not there. Not part of the conversations. We talked and we had fun, and we should make more time for that and allow our children to make time for that sort of
That's also part of my goals for 2023, to ensure that I bond more with not just family but also friends. So my cluster of friends, just find time, if it's once a month, if it's once in 2 months, so that the kids can play together, we can have conversations. It's also about building ourselves socially and network community.
One of the ways I know that I'm on my phone too long, because I love, once I come into the house to stay with my kids, is when my child is interested in whatever it is I'm doing. So I must be that thing must be more important, that the child thinks that it's okay, they should look over my shoulder. And then my son has some of the songs in my house, they're restricted from music. And then we go to a party and my children know all the lyrics. I found out later that is from the reels.
Now you are watching.
Oh, you watch?
No, I really
felt bad. Let me tell you one how I knew a difference. There was one time I sang one song. I said, where did you learn that from? Oh, Gufwan. And it's from Gufwan's car that I learned it. But now when she sings some songs, where do you learn it? It's from when you're playing your videos, I hear.
Attention.
Yeah. So from the reels, they know, and they know the lines. There was one time, there's one song that goes and promotes a drug at the end. And someone like, it's like, doesn't even know, because I have
even know what he's saying.
Doesn't even, and I was just happy that he didn't get the lines right.
Yeah.
That he was mumbling, but I was like, I need to do more. You need to do better. You need to sit up. This is not parenting. So I had to. Most times I'm on the phone. I've learned that one too. I even have to come. I've learned to watch my phone without the volume. I don't know how I do it, but I was like, we all the guests at some point, of course, killing volume. But even that self is not helping. It's just drop it. So dropping it has worked. Logging out has worked, and I think that's what I will be doing going forward. So when I come, let me log out. Drop it.
What are your final thoughts?
So, how do you know you are addicted? When you are always on your phone. And I think that a lot of times, when some people are calling your attention to your phone, then you know you're addicted. If one or two people are saying, put it down, then you know that you should start watching it. And I think understanding where you are per time, acknowledge there's a problem. I know that there's a problem. I know that I'm not ready to solve it per se. What I just can do is ensure that it doesn't affect my family. But outside that, I'm not really going to say I want to stop being on my phone.
That's why you
work. That's where I work. But if you acknowledge, it helps to have a consciousness of where the problem is. But in denial, you are just fooling yourself. So get a consciousness of what the problem is, and ask. One of the things that I realize is I do business on my phone. For some other people, you are not making a dime from your phone, but you are spending your life on your phone. So for me, those are the categories that need to work on it immediately. You are not, there's no content from you online. You are not making money in any way, but you are busy trolling all the bloggers. You are following, you are on all the gossip. Like they don't have one post, but they are commenting on everybody's post. Busy trolling. You don't, that for me is a sin. Is a waste of life.
A crime.
And I tell a few of my staff when I try to, you cannot understand. When I try to tell my staff to get more social and put themselves out there, I tell them a proverb I heard. It's a Yoruba proverb, but I heard it from Dr. Oyedepo, Bishop Oyedepo. He said,
what does that mean?
That means
people that's the way that they watch, but they watch person. So somebody gave me that proverb.
Either you are watching or they are watching you. I have decided that I am going to be the one that they are watched. So
you are.
Yes, and it's no, but on social media is a deliberate thing. So I give content, I leave quickly before I get lost watching other people live their life. Don't get lost watching people live their life. Ensure that whatever you are doing online is I add value, I come out, and I go and spend time with my family. And if that is what you're doing, then continue doing it.
All right, let's take this call. Josephine from K2.
We have a tweet, an important.
Josephine, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, my beautiful lady.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller. Please, you people are telling us how to solve this problem of addiction. I want to know. I'm addicted to your views.
We are teaching you something.
Honestly, I'm addicted to your views. I don't know how to solve that problem.
This one is not that tight now. Not a problem. It's not a problem. At least it's just 2 hours, and you're learning every day that you watch the show. But another thing that helps, okay, I will come to your tweet, is understanding what your values are. What are your priorities as a human being? What matters to you? Family matters to me. So for every time I'm developing myself is because I want to be a better wife. I want to be a better mother, you know, to my kids, my husband. I want to be a better daughter-in-law. I want to be a better daughter to my parents. So that at the back of my mind is what helps me to say, okay, I'm falling in this area. I need to adjust this area. And also I've learned to forgive myself. I'm not always going to be the perfect mom. I'm not always going to be the hoovering mom. I'm not always going to be the, what's it called? Any type of mom. I can't be everything. But the things that I'm succeeding at and the things that I'm failing, I recognize them and I try to make adjustments so that I can have a balance. So I know some people will watch and say, oh, I have failed as a mother, so I've allowed my children. No. You can always retrace your steps back and start afresh. Every day you have an opportunity to start afresh. So let's just do it better every day and learn every day.
Okay, so I think it's an important tweet. Immaculate Boy says, while you ladies are talking about the side effects of phones on relationships, etc., let me call your attention to the health concerns. Retina and blue eye problem are a bigger issue. I spent more than 10 million saving my eyes. Eye challenges are now way too many. Eye hospitals are witnessing retinal surgeries every day in rising figures, and it costs millions. We are witnessing a short-sighted generation. Short room spaces, closed TVs, indoors all the time, and phones and devices. So I think that is another thing. Maybe we would even call someone on a Tuesday to just talk to us about
this. A family member went to the hospital recently because they had to check his spine. And one of the things they told him that you must stay away from your phones, and if you have to use them, you will stay like this.
Wow.
You will stay like this. It's a serious matter. But let's quickly take Yakub. Yakub is home. Good morning, Yakub.
Yeah, how do you do?
Good morning.
And good morning to everyone. Good morning, man. Good morning. As last caller said, even though it's a good one, some of us is so addicted to your shoes. I don't think we are wasting our time because we are addicted to your shoes, because we are running every day we are running to.
Thank you.
Because of the vital information you're giving to us, that makes us so addicted to it. But I'm saying that Mama said they said something earlier that if you are doing something on phone and then that thing that you are doing is giving you income or is generating some kind of payment to you, I think it is very good, it is fine. Let me give you a typical example quickly because of time. Some of us that do trade, You get it? Even though we employ AI, artificial intelligence, I lost some certain part of money one day. Why? Why? Because the developer of the AI, they send a message. And then, in fact, that day it was the day that I decided to drop my phone. They send a message as like a glitch. Everyone should close the phone. You know that I dropped my phone because I came back the first one against me. And then I got some certain part of all that. And then another thing is this. Which I know is I'm very, very guilty of that. The kind of job I'm doing, I wouldn't get home if it was around 11, 11:30 for time. Do you know when I got home, instead of people go and sleep, it's the only that time I still go to Twitter, social media to read some certain messages, and then I'll still wake up for 10 minutes, I do this, place. So sometimes I just say myself, what am I doing? So they say that I set alarm. If I got home around 11, 11:30, by 11:35, my alarm is telling me, remember Tiamule, you continue with your like that. So that is what I did.
Thank you so much, Yakub. I'm sure we've learned one or two things. So you have a tweet? Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to take Japheth.
Yes, Japheth Light.
So that too. I wanted to take it. Japheth Light said, not just, sorry, I agree with all the ladies on this. I'm a student. And I must tell you, one of the things I'm battling with right now is my phone. I can't read more than an hour, but I can use my phone for more than 8 hours non-stop. And not just that, I lost almost all of my friends because I no longer have time for most of them. I just pray we go over all this. I hate that part of not being able to read. So some of the books that would interest, when I joined YourView, I had to be in the news. I wasn't on Twitter, Facebook was the only thing. I didn't even have Instagram. It took 2 years on the show for me to get on Instagram. So Twitter, we had to take tweets. And little by little, you would think you're catching on news. It took me away from the editorials I would like to read in the papers. It took me away from the law books. It took a while. It's still a struggle to stay. In fact, I cannot do that long. And so if you find that something like, maybe because of the catchy lights and all of that, and which also affects your health, it's something that you must give up. So this is not totally to discard. Use it for what it is for. Get calls, take information.
Have your rest time from it.
Reduce what the need is for.
So let's take the score.
Gossip thing is too much.
Ebony from Surulere. Good morning, Ebony.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
You're all looking radiant this morning.
Thank you.
It's been a while on the show. I tried reaching the show yesterday concerning the currency issue, but that's all now. My kids, I have an 18-year-old. Okay, he's going to be 18 in a few months. And my daughter is 12. Now, I found out that I didn't even give them any access to any gadget in the house that they could, refer to as their personal gadget. I did not give them that. So, when you want to use a laptop, you want to use the browser, you want to use your steps. When I say go and use, you are going to use it with the mindset of, I'm going to use this and I have to give it back. Not mine. So you don't privatize what is not yours. And I let them understand that it's not that I cannot give it to you and let you tell me it's yours, keep it. It's because I want you to work very hard to be able to convince me that you're responsible enough to handle this kind of gadgets. You see what these things are causing in the generation of now. These are our Gen Z. You are a part of them.
Yeah.
But do you want to turn out with the way they will turn out?
Thank you so much, Ebony. They have to work hard to earn it.
Yes.
So I'm sure we've learned quite a lot. So we keep adjusting and modifying as we go. Yeah. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we move on to another topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, And last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail, or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Thanks for staying with us. So we found another story that we want to look at. This person says, my wife saved $12,000 plus, $12,000 plus inside her mother's account secretly. Her mother mistakenly shared it with me because I was struggling to pay our rent. Is this what a good wife should do? The mother gave me $2,900 from the money and now she wants her mother to leave. Please help us judge this matter. So apparently he needed money to either pay his rent and he didn't have any money. The woman who had been saving money with her own mother, you know, over 12,000 plus, and then the mother releases the money to help the husband so that he can pay the rent, and now the wife is upset. So the question is, if you are the wife, one, how would you react if your mother releases something you have been saving? Secondly, why would you have that kind of money and not be able to bail out your husband that's in need at the time? So these are the two angles I want us to start with.
So I feel that it's from time immemorial, women hide money from their husbands. It's not, I won't say it's right or wrong depending on each person, but it's something, it's a culture. You are told don't eat with all your hands. If he gives you something, just keep a little because you don't know the day that he might need it. So it's not, the women hiding money from their husbands is not from a place of being malicious. It's from a place of let's have a bit of security. Let's have a bit of backup. Of course, some women do it maliciously. Some women do it with their baggages from what they've seen from family and maybe parents or aunties that were abandoned by their husbands and they had nothing to fall back on. But most women that I know who do it, it's not malicious, it is let's have a backup so that if Oga says, I'm trying to get school fees. You say, don't worry, my darling. I have some savings somewhere I can bring out. In this case, that mother didn't do right. I feel that as much as possible, there's something people dieting eat. It's called silo musk. When you put it inside a food, it changes the food, but it doesn't change the taste. Like, it has impact. If you are married, if you are mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, in-laws in marriages, should find a way that they are in that space, but I'm not going to, anything I feel any information I have that can scatter marriage, I will keep it to myself, because I really,
I'll be the source.
just don't, let your impact be neutral. Don't be the one that you now hear something. I saw your wife talking to somebody. That's not your business. Why is your husband eating 5 meats? It's not your business. Look, don't say anything. When you start making comments that can disrupt the marriage, then you are no longer being a neutral person, but you're causing crisis in that marriage. For me, that woman is the mother-in-law is the one that caused a major crisis in the marriage, because you were held money that in confidence, and then you went to put your mouth on your business. I don't know whether the woman did it maliciously or not, but women hiding money, they should stop giving us for doing it. We will do it. It's regular.
Okay.
That's my own opinion anyway.
I agree with you that, the mother should just be there, see, don't talk, don't be around but not be seen or be heard. Just find a way to blend into the walls. But this is a mother who knows her daughter well. And there are so many areas in this story we are not seeing. Yeah. I'm seeing the mother knowing the daughter well, probably thinking, why do you want to keep this much money? The question for me is, why will you as a wife have $12,000 plus dollars and your husband needs $2,000 to pay the rent and he's struggling with it? Yeah. To the point your mother is entering the matter, you yourself, tidy up. You understand? Because between yourself and your husband, even if you don't want to disclose what you have, you could have even told the lie that, okay, let me just get 2,900 from mommy. Let him say no. Do you understand? So that at least your mother doesn't come in thinking, what's happening here? You tell him you are taking it from your mom. You said it to your mom anyway. Ask your mom to wire it so that he feels the need to want to pay it back. So that he feels responsible to want to pay it back. That's how you should be done. But for you to, I think she forced her mom into this. If she had dealt with her, she's the first unit, the mother could have blended into the world anyway, but she's forced to show a shadow because now the daughter is being difficult. As way I see the story, if she didn't take care of it well, that's the way I see it.
So for me, I feel that there needs to be context. It's just so, and the reason why is usually when things like this happen, I would expect that the mother would have a conversation with the daughter. What is happening in your house? Your husband came to meet me. Ordinary 2,000.
Exactly.
You cannot pay. What is happening? And if she had to even do it, maybe she couldn't reach the daughter, she may give it as, okay, I have this amount of money. Return it. It's from my committee of what. And then she'll call the daughter. What's happening? I had to give him an out of your money, but I did not say it's your own. I said it's mine.
Exactly.
And then you now find out the reason why your daughter is hiding money. Or is this something he does where when mommy, he never pays money for rent. We put money together to pay for the rent. He squanders it. And so I've decided not to. There are just so many things that could have happened to why she was not doing. And then is she just a very selfish person? Really, if she was such a selfish person and the mom thought that was what she was doing, it was still not the mother's place to give out her money. It's not her money. It was an opportunity to sit down with them and have a serious conversation. Is this marriage people are doing here or not? How can your husband be in such a serious condition? The roof over your head is about to go and you don't think you can remove that amount of money to have another roof. As far as I'm concerned, this is not a real marriage. You, Oga, why would your wife have that kind of money and is not willing to help you? So for me, this conversation, there needs to be more things we need to understand before we can give judgment, because I know how easy it is to give the story from that where it was
but Topper was right in the sense that the mother broke the confidentiality rule. The money that is in her account is not public news. It is to the grave information.
Exactly. Is it because I put it in your account?
You carry that kind of secret to your grave. Exactly. You don't discuss it. You don't expose it. I have done some things with my mom
Let me trust you on those things you have.
You don't even need to see this thing that you said. You should even have said it. There's always know. And do not play with nobody. Are you kidding? Just me and I. There's no secret, just me and I. And then
none of denial. Let's take David from Abuja. Good morning, David.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you, ladies, for this kind of discussion this morning. I really want to appreciate you, especially Auntie Nima. I want to know where you grew up and who actually raised you.
Yeah, she says it all the time.
I would love to be part of that family.
Wow. I finished marrying all our daughters.
Yeah, are you sure? Please check again.
So my contribution is there should be this kind of mother-daughter relationship.
Secrets, good.
That stretched to that point of keeping secrets. Are you getting me?
We can get you. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. So it shouldn't be as if the mom is the one lending the money to the husband. The wife in question can say, okay, let me get this from somebody. It could be the mom, it could be another person. The mother can decide to wire the money to somebody else, then the person can send it to the husband so that the husband will feel that need, the urge to return the money. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, David.
Let's even talk about this husband feeling the urge to return the money, because I used to have that mindset for a long time until my husband made me realize, like, if I always, it's like I always owe you money. So why are you always expecting that I will refund the money? Because you would also borrow money from me, and you are like, there are things, if it is it's a family need, if it is for things that we need as a family, what's the big deal in a woman contributing? Because these are conversations we should have. There's always the assumption like, oh, he should pay rent, he should buy fuel, he should buy food, he should do this. So when he now needs money, you will borrow him money to buy the food you will eat, or you will borrow money to buy the fuel in your house, and they are asking for refund. I used to do it a lot, and I used to ask for
to refund. Wait, he refunds you so that you keep it back in the bank.
So
that the next time that he needs it. Yes.
Okay, like
so
that.
One of the reasons why some women will not bring out money is the few times they had billed the cat, the man doesn't refund the money. He just goes, what's wrong with you? Why am I refunding?
Your money is our money.
Your money is our money too. Don't you collect my money? And then the lady has to start all over again. So there are different reasons why people just want to keep something aside for themselves. You mentioned it from when we started, experiences of others. They don't want to, something happens and then they are left stranded for their children and for their sake. So they keep something aside. And now if they have to touch that thing that they have been and they're keeping it aside from feeding allowance, especially those ones who do not even have a job, it's from the money that you give to them that they would have used to buy recharge card and buy slippers 15 times a month that they are saving from. So they are still squeezing themselves to save that amount of money, and then you deplete it and you don't replenish it. So I can see why you will not want to bring out if the man is like that. So for me, the responsibility should be on the man to have integrity. So if you have a problem, like when I started saving, God did not understand why I want to keep something aside. See, one day I had this colo back in Alagbado then when we just started our marriage, and I'll just be chucking it inside, 50 kobo here, 200 here, and all that. And one time he was broke. We're still building our house at the time, so every morning he had bought blocks, he had bought workers, he was broke that period. And I said, let me go and break my colo. You have colo in this house. He couldn't get upset. Bring it, and we broke it, and we brought out money. He was excited. He didn't tell me anything, but I overheard him talking to his friends that money saved him from the pressure, because he was already thinking, who do I call, who do I borrow, who do I do this to? And so he sort of relaxed. So till today he tells me, I know you have money, madam, and broke. Do you have money in any of their houses that I don't know of?
Alma said to me, can you check all those Nima's books? Because she used to use books to market because I did that early in our marriage. They helped us buy pure water one day. Can be broke.
Yeah, to that point, yes.
So, but I find it abusive for you to, as a spouse, male or female, collect when you are in need, collect help and say you will not refund it. I think it's yes. I think it's abusive.
No, I think for the woman.
No, you can. We are coming out. It's abusive.
If
yes, it's an abuse.
There's money.
No,
if there is,
no,
that's a different.
No, even if there is,
no.
Okay.
You teach yourself.
Yeah, when you
return a favor by returning, if you, I said I say dash me. If you ask dash, when I say borrow, no, we are our English.
I don't borrow money.
When women want to collect money, they borrow me now. But you know I'm your wife. I don't have to. But when you are borrowing the money, I borrowed you.
Yes.
The language. So I think it's abusive, and we will do it a lot because you will come back. Just as you said, you will. That the relationship is one that you bank on in times of need. Yeah. If you want to meet it there constantly, I learned the hard way. So this thing we're talking about is our 2,000 naira if you are watching. And so every weekend I started this adjourn in my neighborhood. Every weekend it was from Zibiri's wallet that the adjourn was.
So I did adjourn another
every Saturday I would buy eggs. I'll just come. I want to buy eggs. I want to buy bread. Whereas all those things I've already bought them. And so I was taking money. And then I took this 2,000. And we had this conversation. It was a difficult one because it was like somebody was flogging me cane when the truth was being said to me.
I don't like
I was pained. And it was like, you see this 2,000, I will collect it. And so when it was at the end of the month, I used to collect some version, guy just reduced. I was like, that 2,000, it will pay me. And you could not even let it go, And so I learned the hard way, but I learned it that it was abusive. The moment I stopped it, I used to get more than that amount. And
so I should just say dash me.
Hey, if you be open. And if you guy does not have dash, he will let you know. Not that you go and empty 2,000.
He does not have dash. He will definitely have dash.
On the way to work, imagine. There was a day he thought he had cash. And he had to be doing transfer on the way to work when we didn't have a car. So it's not...
for me, it's
that's advantage of
okay, what I've noticed that most Nigerian men don't mind when the woman collects it and does not pay back. Yes. They expect it anyway. It's the culture. In fact, it gives them a sort of pride. I'm sure they can agree. It gives them this pride that they can do it. They are the man. In fact, even before you ask, they have already put that money aside for you that you react, that you rely, that you get to pay back. And so he's giving. So our Nigeria, I don't know about Ondo. I love our Nigerian men. Gadget. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, that's why all the people in diaspora run after.
God Funky Flex says the money belongs to the mother, so she can do whatever she pleases with it. But her mom shouldn't have revealed the secret. No, there is my mama account the money there.
Okay.
The mom shouldn't have revealed the secret unless she did it out of love because she knows her daughter to be selfish. For the lady, I feel she wants to divorce the man in the future. Maybe it could be true.
Yes.
No, some people have these exit packages they do. Exit package they could have.
Possible, yeah. So on a lighter note, there was a time anytime I borrow money from Oga after he has sorted me for the month, I'll now say, when he asks for the money, I'll say, don't worry now, I'll pay you in kind. So one day, he borrowed money from me. And I said, hey, babe, transfer that into me now. See, I'm paying you in cash. He's not around. He's only me that has the right. Madam, this money I am paying you.
There's this movie I watched as a child. They say, Iditije. Any money that collects this, he don't have we have chopped it. If the money come here, it cannot go out again. So that I said is cultural. But please, on the final note, let's just appeal to our in-laws. Once you are in that house, you are living in that house, as much as possible, look at whatever the conversation you want to have in the 360 total side and see every scenario. Would this thing cause division in this family? You don't want to be the one to cause division in that family. So be the peacemaker, not the one that will be breaking things up.
Be the binding.
There's a
for the two. We are going. We have finished the show. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. That was an interesting conversation. All right, that's all we can take on the show today. We'll see you again tomorrow.